stand up and fight back for what's right. So thank you. We will always be family. We have solidarity together in this moment, now and forever, and we're here to continue fighting. Today we have a few speakers lined up, speakers who will continue to talk about our demands, what we're fighting for, and then we will be marching. Once again, we have food, we have water, there are live streams for people who might not be able to hear, or for people at home. Just please watch, participate however you can, and we're gonna get started. Our first speaker is going to be Avis Reese. Avis is an artist. She's the future female Black DJ that we're gonna see playing here. She's So Avis is gonna come up, and we'll keep going. We'll have people come up and speak. Today we also want to focus a little bit on building community and solidarity, and we want to hear from people who've been coming out, who've been marching. We want to know why you keep showing up, how we can continue to support you and your work, and how we can continue to get to know each other and continue to build power. So Avis is going to say some stuff. How y'all doing? I feel a little hoodwinked, but okay. I'm really grateful to be here with you all once again. I come to you as someone who, prior to this year, I wasn't really into protests. I didn't fully understand the value. Louder? Yeah. I'm just going to use this magical volume button so I don't have to speak louder. Is that better? Okay. So I come to you as someone who, prior to this year, didn't really understand the value of protests. And I started coming out when we began the protest with George Floyd's murder. And just the information that was coming across in these spaces and the sense of community that is felt in these spaces really changed my perspective. And so I hope that you all really kind of lean into that, into the value of being collectively here and collectively unified in this goal to really see our community thrive. And so I just really want you all to, one, kind of really acknowledge the discomfort of this space. A lot of you have severed ties with family, friends, people who you thought were good folks, and they showed their true colors in these past few months. And so, one, I just want you to sit in the reality that you have made a very, very bold choice within yourself to keep doing this work. And I just encourage us all to keep doing that because the fight is not over. And so when it comes to what we are experiencing now and probably in the next few days, even though the RPD seems like they want to let us continue to protest without much opposition, I want you to really realize how kind of screwed up it was that they attacked us for our right to protest, one. And then they kind of let off when we allowed the clergy to be in the front lines. The RPD doesn't get to determine who gets pepperballed and who doesn't, first of all. And so knowing that they could have showed that same level of restraint and that same level of humanity from the get-go, and they chose not to. And they chose not to because they were in their feelings. They realized that now, before we were pointing at George Floyd's murder and they said, oh, that's not here. But now that we can actually point to them, they're in their feelings. And so I want you to really realize how this has been a very emotional response for them. And we don't got time for that. We don't got time for them to be in their feelings. And so over this next however long we have to be out here, I also want us to really understand that this work started long before Daniel Pruitt's murder. These facts that we've been spitting out about the stats of, misdemeanor crimes that are just, that's what we're really paying these officers for. We have been bringing all of this information to our city council, to our mayor, long before Daniel Pruitt, and they chose to ignore it. And so when you have leadership that has chosen to ignore it, and it takes this type of uprising for them to even try and appease us, it really makes you question what type of leadership we have. And so in this space, I just want you to really sit with that. This work has to continue. This work is more than just firing a couple of officers. This work is bigger than just a mayor resignation. This is an actual deep-rooted systemic issue that has been addressed, that has been ignored, and we don't got time to ignore it anymore. We don't have time for another Daniel Prude. We can't afford that. And so keep up the work. I just want you to really just be proud of the work that we have done, and don't get tired. Like, rest up when you need to, but don't get tired of the actual effort that goes behind it, because it is making a difference. And we got this. All right, thanks. Give it up for Avis Reeves. So along the lines of what Avis mentioned, we are celebrating some very significant, monumental wins within our city and within this movement. One of the recent things that happened was Laurent Singletary resigned with pension, and the whole command staff resigned. That is unheard of. That is something we were fighting for, and we believe that comes with knowing he did something wrong. When someone is not wrong, they have something to stand on. They will fight for their position. But he was dead wrong, involved in the cover-up of Daniel Prude's murder, and stepped down as he should. The other thing we're celebrating today is earlier in August, City Council went against the community voices and neighbors and decided to pass legislation to fund a $16 million police station in a predominantly Black and brown neighborhood of Beechwood. Today, Loretta Scott, Mary Lupian, and Mitch Gruber are trying to repeal that legislation and put a hold on funding terror in our community. This is happening really quickly. This was one of our demands earlier on, to stop the funding of the police and instead fund the communities and neighbors. So to see this happening is massive, and I think, and we know it has to do with every one of us showing up, holding our city council members and legislators accountable, and continuing to make our voices heard. So this is something we're here to celebrate. This is something that shows that we have momentum, and we are definitely gonna keep fighting till we meet all our other demands. So I'm gonna bring up Ashley next to talk about the demands, what we're fighting for, why we're in the streets, and letting you all know that we will be here until each and every single demand is met, especially lovely Warren resigning.
So hey everybody, I'm gonna try to talk really loud, but I've been saying fuck the police for so long that my voice is leaving. So I wanna backtrack a couple of weeks, more like 15 or 16 weeks now, and talk about the power of the people. So you guys know that, most of you guys know that we started protesting and marching 15 weeks ago. We had a list of demands, and as we kept marching, some of those demands was met, and two of them that Stanley spoke about tonight. But I also want to talk about some other demands that was met that we kind of forget about in the wake of Daniel Prude, but I want to use as a reminder to keep us encouraged, to keep us moving, and to keep us showing up, right? So number one, we've been fighting for over 3 years to get police officers out of schools, right? We started marching on May 30th. A couple of weeks, that was one of our demands, to remove SROs out of schools. And a couple of weeks after we started marching, we saw that happened. So going into this school year, what we're doing is trusting our children to be the children that they are without criminalizing them and pushing them into mass incarceration, into the criminal justice system. So we accomplished getting SROs out of schools. Another thing that we accomplished is 50A, right? So we've been fighting for over 5 years. I mean, fighting for over 5 years, spending weeks on weeks on weeks in Albany, spending weeks talking to our mayor who pretended like she didn't even know what 50A was, right? And 50A is a civil rights act that protects police officers. We've been fighting for years to get that repealed. And because of you guys, and because of the unrest across the state, in a week, 50A was passed. So now when we talk about these 3 officers who killed Daniel Prude, now we can forward request their history. We can see how many complaints, how many investigations, how many assaults, because we got 50A passed. So give yourselves a round of applause for that. Another thing this community specifically got passed is we were asking our Attorney General Tish James to convene the grand jury against these 3 officers who murdered Daniel Prude now, right? And we know that that sometimes takes months, years, or sometimes doesn't happen at all. But because you guys continue to show up in spite of the attacks from the police, in spite of being tear gassed, in spite of being shot by rubber and pepper bullets, we continue to show up every night. And now Tish James have convened the grand jury, right? And hopefully convening them leads to them being prosecuted and convicted. So now I just want to remind us about a few of our demands, and while we're here, because we're not gathering because we're bored, right? And we don't got nothing to do. There's a purpose. So, number 1, we've been asking that these officers are prosecuted, convicted, and right now, while they're out on paid vacation, which is suspended leave, we've been asking that they are fired altogether, right? And throughout history, we know that police officers often get fired from one department and go and work in another department and perpetrate the same trauma, the same harm over and over and over again. So what we're asking is that these officers, in the meantime, while policing is not abolished, they not be able to work in any police department nowhere in America. A lot of times, we get caught up in what our 1, 2, 3 demands are when it comes to Daniel Prude. But for the last 15 weeks, one thing that we've really been pushing, and my friend made me a mask that says defund the police real big, is defunding the police, right? So we're asking that some of these funds that the police have be reallocated, right? So we know in the case of Daniel Prude that his family called the police because he was going through a mental health crisis. And instead the police murdered him. So we're asking, instead of reallocate some of those funds, so instead of things like the police showing up and murdering black people, that we can have mental health specialists show up, right? And not just that. We heard Sarah and Layla, and they're coming again tonight, but we heard Sarah and Layla, which are teenagers in the RCSD district, give a bomb poem last night. We also see them every single week for the last 15 weeks, coming out, putting this work on their back, protesting, serving, doing whatever they have to do to show up, right? And we're asking that some of those resources, some of that $148 million that the police department gets every year be reallocated. Because guess what? Sarah and Layla don't even have the opportunity for a basic education, right? So we know that the school district is taking a 20% cut every single year for the next 5 years. They're already in an $89 million deficit, and a 20% cut over the next 5 years while we are giving police officers $140 million to terrorize our community is absolutely ridiculous. So when we say defund, we say reallocate those resources to housing, to education, to mental health care services, to health care, whatever. Just take it from the police, okay? Oh, and of course, last but not least, this not even last. We're asking for Lovely Warren to resign, right? And we've been asking that, and we're gonna continue to ask that. But as a reminder, right alongside Lovely Warren to resign, we need the WAC president of the police union, Mike Mazzio, to also resign, right? We need Sandra Doyley, who is the Monroe County District Attorney, who is the most dangerous person in this region, who fuels mass incarceration. We need her also to resign. So as we're going about doing this work, let's remember, we're spreading this blame out equally, and we're calling for the resignation of all of them, right? We're thinking now strategic ways where we can, really put our foot on Sandra Doyley's neck, really put our foot on Mike Mazzio's neck. So you guys think with us. If you have ideas, if you have, if you want to be in this thought process with us, please, please, please send us an email or send us a message on Free the People Rock, because obviously it's cold tonight, so we're going into another season. So we need to strategically pivot, and we need to do it quickly, and we need to do it clearly, okay?
So I'm going to go over the last 2 demands.
We're asking to stop criminalizing protesters and free everyone who has been charged with protests in the city of Rochester since May 30th. We know the criminal punishment system tries to criminalize folks for speaking out and using their right to protest and get out in these streets to stop them from continuing to come out. But we see that's not impacting us. We see people with charges showing up, continuing to lift their voices and fight for justice for all of us, our families, our children, our grandparents, for all of us. The last thing that we're fighting for is Daniel's Law. We know that when Daniel's brother Joe Prude called for help, 911, when Daniel's brother Joe Prude called 911, he called for help, and police officers showed up. Police officers are trained as violence workers with guns, with mace, with tasers. They're simply not equipped to respond to mental health calls. So Daniel's Law will bar officers and people with guns from responding to mental health calls, and instead have people with lived experience, peers, mental health counselors, social workers showing up. As we stand here today, we constantly, along with the family of Daniel Prude, imagine what it would have been like if a mental health therapist showed up and gave him a blanket and said things will be okay, we will be with you, we will treat you like a human being. We believe Daniel might still be here and have had the care he needed. So we want to make sure this never happens to anyone within this ableist, racist, violent system. So Daniel's Law is something we're fighting for in every level, in city council, at the state, and also within the county. Adam Bello has been quiet silence, and we're hoping that he reaches out to the Prude family and asks what does Daniel's Law mean and how he can implement it across the county. So up next we have Jamia coming up to speak some more about some of the experiences she had. She was one of the protesters who got arrested. There's video of police officers putting their knee in her back while she screamed out she couldn't breathe. So they are terrorizing our communities just because we have the nerve to speak up and fight for justice.
All Black Lives Matter.
All Black Lives Matter.
All Black Lives Matter.
All Black Lives Matter.
Okay, y'all. So before I get to my experience, I want to bring up the experience of people that have came before me. Because I don't want people to forget how long we have been fighting to literally be considered human, to be treated like equal. I want you guys to know that it doesn't stop with Daniel Prude. Daniel Prude is not the first person RPD has killed. Daniel Prude is not the only person RPD has killed. And we're not even also speaking on the fact of the many people they brutalized and thrown in jail and lied on. So in case if you guys don't know why we're shouting Daniel Prude's name, we're going to say the names that came before Daniel Prude. Because y'all need to know and understand the severity of why we need to tear down this injustice system. And it starts right here in little big old Rock City, the city that we live in, the city that we dwell in, the city that we thrive in, the city that we fight to survive in. It starts here. These are the names of the people that have been killed by RPD. The first person that was murdered, I want to say maybe on record, because it's possibly they could be covering up other shit too. If they could cover up Daniel Prude, I'm pretty sure there's more people on this list that aren't even being, names aren't even being said.
Yes, there are.
The first name is Ronald Frazier. Ronald Frazier was killed by RPD in 1975. Say his name. Ronald Frazier. Say his name.
Ronald Frazier.
Say his name.
Ronald Frazier.
That same year, RPD turned around and killed a black woman. Say her name, Denise Hawkins.
Denise Hawkins.
Say her name.
Denise Hawkins.
Say her name.
Denise Hawkins.
This next one hits home because this next person was my aunt. The same aunt that I carry a similarity of her last name. Say her name, Alicia McCullough. Say her name.
Alicia McCullough.
Say her name.
Alicia McCullough.
Say her name.
Alicia McCullough.
And you know what? Since I got the news out here, y'all need to look back on this case and arrest the officer Tom Whitmore, who decided that while he shot my aunt on the ground bleeding, he's gonna walk up to her and shoot her point blank in the chest. At age 21. Say her name.
Alicia McCullough.
Say his name, Louis Davila. Say his name.
Louis Davila.
Say his name.
Louis Davila.
Louis Davila was killed by RPD in 1985. Say his name, Louis Davila.
Louis Davila.
Say his name, Kenneth Jackson. Say his name.
Kenneth Jackson.
Say his name.
Kenneth Jackson.
Say his name.
Kenneth Jackson.
Kenneth Jackson was killed by RPD in 1984. Say his name.
Kenneth Jackson.
Say his name, Calvin Green. Say his name.
Calvin Green.
Say his name.
Calvin Green.
Say his name.
Calvin Green.
Calvin Green, another black man, was killed by RPD in 1988. Say his name.
Calvin Green.
Say their name, Vandy Davis. Say their name.
Vandy Davis.
Say their name.
Vandy Davis.
Vandy Davis was also killed by RPD in 2001. You see how this list keeps growing, and I'm not done. Say his name, Willie Carter. Say his name.
Willie Carter.
Say his name.
Willie Carter.
Say his name.
Willie Carter.
Willie Carter was murdered by RPD in 2002. Say his name.
Willie Carter.
Say his name.
Willie Carter.
Say his name, Craig Hurd. Say his name.
Craig Hurd.
Say his name.
Craig Hurd.
Craig Hurd was killed by RPD in 2002. Say his name.
Craig Hurd.
This black man was also killed in 2002. In Wegmans, I'm calling you out. You have a part to play in his murder. Say his name, Lawrence Rogers. Say his name.
Lawrence Rogers.
Say his name.
Lawrence Rogers.
Say his name.
Lawrence Rogers.
Lawrence Rogers was murdered by RPD in 2002. Say his name.
Lawrence Rogers.
Say her name, Patricia Thompson. Say her name.
Patricia Thompson.
Say her name.
Patricia Thompson.
Say her name.
Patricia Thompson.
Patricia Thompson was also killed by RPD in 2006. Say her name, Patricia Thompson. Say her name.
Patricia Thompson.
Say their name, Hayden Blackman. Say their name.
Hayden Blackman.
Say their name.
Hayden Blackman.
Hayden Blackman was killed by RPD in 2011. Say their name, Hayden Blackman.
Hayden Blackman.
Say their name.
Hayden Blackman.
Say their name, Israel Adino. Say his name.
Israel Adino.
Say his name.
Israel Adino.
Israel Adino was killed by RPD in 2012. Say his name.
Israel Adino.
The next person, I just recently found out that this is the uncle of one of my siblings. Say his name, Richard Gregory Davis. Say his name.
Richard Gregory Davis.
Say his name.
Richard Gregory Davis.
Say his name.
Richard Gregory Davis.
Richard Gregory Davis was killed by RPD in 2015. Say his name, Richard Gregory Davis. Say his name.
Richard Gregory Davis.
And last, and unfortunately, I have to say, he's not going to be the last one. Say his name, Daniel Prude. Say his name.
Daniel Prude.
Say his name.
Daniel Prude.
Daniel Prude was killed by RPD on March 23rd, 2020. And I want to speak on this. I want y'all to notice something. Do y'all remember how the world was in uproar about how they covered up the death of Ahmaud Arbery and they hid that for 2 months? Is there not the same similarity? Except this was for damn near 6? In May 2020, they killed George Floyd, but the police did the same thing to George Floyd the RPD did to Daniel Prude. And Daniel Prude is not the only person the RPD has put their knee in their necks and has tried to snuff them out. Like I said when I went live, your RPD, you don't get the chance to take my life. I will fucking fight you. Since it is known that you guys are okay and have constantly gotten away with, oh, I fear for my life. Well, God damn it, I fear for my life when you approached me. How about that? And if you guys were also aware, the police station on Goodman is not the only one they were plotting to build. Spectrum News, you're here. 13 Wham, you're here. I just looked it up before I came up to speak. You guys have been reporting for the last 3 years that RPD and the city council plan on not just building a police station on Goodman, they plan on building one in Lake Avenue, on Genesee Park, on top of the police station that they have on Clinton. I'm sorry, I'm a little messed up. I'm not really messing with my directions, but y'all know where the fuck I'm pointing. God damn it! So not only do we need city council to reallocate that 12 mil, I'm gonna need them to come above that 33 million that they gave RPD to build police stations on Goodman and Lake Avenue and Genesee area. Also, if y'all don't know, raise your hand if y'all remember the story of the officer that ran away after a white person ran in and shot up the school. Raise your hand if y'all remember that story. So, this is how fucked the fuck shit is. I'm sorry. Keep going. This is how much they don't care about us. Not only did the Supreme Court rule that he was well in his right to run away, they also ruled that the police do not have to save us. I'm going to say it again. Not only did they say that officer was well within his right to use fight or flight, because guess what? That motherfucker feared for his life. They ruled that he was well within the right, and the police don't have to save us. So when I think of an officer gunning my aunt down, kneeling on Daniel Prue's neck, laughing, watching, you think they really give a fuck about us? And for those that want to be like, oh, PCP, I don't give a good goddamn how much drugs you smoke. God damn it, you are not supposed to die in the hands of law enforcement.
Period. Period.
A good goddamn.
A good goddamn.
And even more fuck shit. I'm gonna need y'all to really do your research. I'm a little fucked up about the videos I fucking watch, but I watch them not for re-traumatization, not for triggering, but for me to stay woke and for me to have a reason to as to why I continue to fight. I recently watched a video where I believe actually, I don't think it's one of the man's names on my list, but RPD in 2015 brutalized a homeless black man. Beat him the fuck up. Do y'all also know 3 weeks later, a white man was also having the same mental health issues and they took care of him? Took care of him. Some more fuck shit if y'all want to forget. How about the fact that oh my god, I can't believe I forgot his name. The fucking white supremacist man that decided to go to Charleston and shoot 9 people, 9 black praying people, Dylan motherfucking Roof. Do you know they brought him Burger King? But Freddie Gray was picked up 2 minutes from the police station. 20 minutes later, they found him dead in the back of a fucking police car. In a police van. Murder. And they can't explain why. Say his name. Freddie Gray.
Into your comments. One of our own. For sure.
The NRA, those fucked up ass people, since they constantly want to promote the Second Amendment and Trump want to be, oh, you guys, excuse me, let me get my voice on. You guys have the privilege, you guys have the First Amendment rights. I just want to let you guys know that you are entitled to your First Amendment right. I also want to let you know it's hundreds and hundreds of governors from all across America that are calling me. Sir, it's only 50 states. Hundreds and hundreds of governors. You guys have your First Amendment right. Okay, Carrot Top. Okay, I need to peel your muffin cap back blue. Okay, your makeup don't blend in with your hairline. Okay. Okay, baby hands. Okay. I don't know if y'all heard me. Okay. Since they want to talk about the Second Amendment, how about the fact that Philando Castile made it aware to the officer that I am carrying a weapon, and he fired on him and shot him, not only in front of the mother of his child, but his own daughter. And the cop has the nerve to freak out and tell her to remain calm. And she, unfortunately trained, because that's how black people are told to do. Agree, people. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. No murderer, because that's what I should call you, because you just killed my people. I shouldn't be calling you sir. I shouldn't be addressing you as ma'am. I should call you as what the fuck you are, a murderer. Where was the NRA when they want to stand up when Fernando Castillo was exercising his Second Amendment right? Sorry, let me get my amendments correct. Second Amendment right to carry a weapon. And then let's circle it back around to the goddamn Locust Club. Come on. Okay. Do y'all know what a fucking locust is? I watch, for y'all that don't know, I watch Animal Planet. And if y'all don't watch anime, I'm gonna need y'all to watch it. Cause locust is the most nastiest motherfucking shits in the world. Mike Mazzio. You got some dirt on your chair. You got some dirt on your jacket too, bro. Some hella dirt. Indictments where you as well were found to be brutalizing people, and then you got the nerve to sit up there and say, oh, reside lovely Warren. By all means, I'm with the shits, but fuck you for even opening your mouth to speak that woman's name. You murderer do not get the right to sit up there and try to say that my mayor has to go. Because if that's the case, the motherfucker you and the whole Locust Club got to go too, goddammit. Got the nerve to say that you weren't aware of the video? All y'all have been covering up for people. I find it funny how if somebody gets arrested for a murder or crime, they're immediately brought into the spot, interrogated. But let police kill somebody. They are given weeks to get their fucking stories together. For them all to say the same thing, word for word, like Trump stealing Obama's goddamn speeches. Melania over here bark biting off of Michelle Obama. And they want to talk about immigrants. Trump damn near 3 wives is all immigrants. They ain't come from here. So if that's the case, I guess they're murderers and rapists too, right? But we are here to defund RPD, take back what has been stolen from us, reform these communities, put money back into Rochester City School District, give gatekeeper Adrian Alim a fucking building, and all be treated equally. That's on a period. Is that too much to ask for? Because if it's too much, I know why we can ask in other ways for our shits. If they don't give us our shit,
We shut shit down.
If they don't give us our shit,
We shut shit
If they
down.
don't give us our shit,
We shut shit
If they
down.
don't give us our shit,
We shut shit
Who
down.
shut shit down?
We shut shit down.
Who shut shit down?
We shut shit down.
Who shut shit down?
We shut shit down.
Who shut shit down?
We shut shit down.
All Black Lives Matter.
All Black Lives Matter.
Y'all, let's give Jamia another round of applause. She done been our teacher on everything. And that's on a period. So y'all, I want to also, while Jamia read all of those names, I want y'all to know we couldn't Google one single conviction. Not one single conviction. So we're trying to break a record here when we get these 3 officers convicted, okay? Keep that in your hearts and keep that in your minds. Not one single conviction. There is more than Daniel Prude's blood crying out in these streets. Don't forget that. Now, since Jamia done came through with fire, we're going to try to change the little atmosphere a little bit. And we're going to call up Sarah and Layla to give us some poetry. If y'all was here last night, y'all heard them kill it. So give them a round of applause. Y'all, Layla got on her whole winter coat. But okay.
Before I came here, honestly, not before. When I came here, I had like a terrible stomach ache. I'm listening to Jamia talk and it's like gone now. I'm like all energized and motivated and ready to go. But also hearing her talk, like it really made me think about like, this is really, 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 really real. Like, I remember the first time I like firsthand experienced racism was when not racism, police brutality. I definitely experienced racism, but police brutality. I was there when Benny Ward, the whole Benny Ward situation happened, when the police officers kicked him out of his wheelchair and beat him down. I was about 8 years old when that happened, and I was on my way home from a protest, protesting a lot of the issues that we still see today. I was on my way home from a protest, and we got out the car. No, we pulled up into the parking lot. Mind you, this was right on Bartlett and Jefferson where we was at last night, celebrating the life of another person who was brutalized by RPD and killed by them. But anyways, we pulled into the parking lot, and my dad wanted to get out, but he was like, nah, just go. My mom is white, I'm biracial. My mom was like, no, because you don't know what they're gonna do to you, and that's so real. And that was when it first really, really hit me. I was like 8 years old at the time. And ever since then, like, there's so many different things that I can talk about, and we talk about it in this poem too. And I've taken on the footsteps of my parents too. Back in December, I led the walkouts, and the RCSD walkouts to protest the teachers being cut. And it's so crazy because at that time we were in a $30 million deficit, I believe, $30 million deficit. And mind you, this was because the governor feels like our education isn't enough of a priority. So we decided to miss school. We had to miss school because they were literally cutting our teachers in the middle of the school year. They were cutting our teachers in the middle of the school year. So we missed school, and we went down to Albany and begged them to give us our $86 million that we're owed, that we've been owed for almost a decade, to give us a sound and basic education. Not an education like they get out in the suburbs. All we want is a sound and basic education. An education so we don't have to cut our teachers in the middle of the school year. So now it's what? It's like 9 months later? Yeah, 9 months later. And just recently, Cuomo decided to cut 20% of our education. We still haven't gotten our $86 million, but he's decided to cut 20% of our education. So that's just really crazy. And tomorrow, I don't know if you guys saw, but Citizen Action, Stevie Vargas, one of the organizers with Free People, she's putting together an event. It's called Statewide Day of Action. Stop Governor Cuomo's cuts to schools. And it's going to be at 9:30 to 10:45. It's a car parade. Where's the location? Oh, boy. Yeah. So, I don't know where the location is. 400 Andrew Street. I'm sorry, y'all. 400 Andrew Street, and we writing letters to Governor Cuomo's mom. So we need to tell them to put his son in check.
Not writing to his mom. Writing to his mom.
When he was in school, and think about how she would feel if she was out here like me and Layla. If her son had to go to Albany every day, if her son had to beg them to give them money, if her son had to sit there and watch the kids 3 miles up the road thrive and live luxury and eat pizza from Salvatore's and eat cookies and all love, everything, while we sit here eating jail food. Okay. All of that, like they gotta. She need to put herself as a mother. She need to replace herself. She need to put herself in the position of our parents. She need to act like we're her kids, cause I know a lot of y'all moms out here definitely show up for other people's kids. I remember we was down Jefferson the first night, and the lady was talking about how she protect everybody, and she always makes sure everybody fed out there. So we just writing letters to her mom and telling her to put her son in check. So make sure y'all write y'all letters, and if you can
not writing to his mom.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk so much. I let Layla talk, and then we're gonna do our poem.
Hi everybody. My name's Layla McFadden, and I'm 15 years old. And I've also been a part of the walkouts and stuff. I joined a little late because me and Sarah, I kind of got into all of this because of Sarah. So, yeah, we've been protesting since December, and we still woke. So, now we about to do our poem, guys.
I'm too colored for you. From hearing my white mom decide that it's best she just goes in the store. Cause as a black person in America, you can be stopped right at the door.
I'm too colored for you. To my ex-best friend who let her white girlfriend call me a nigga, how could you expect me not to be triggered?
I'm too colored for you. To having my dad leave for weeks to go and protest on the streets over another case of police using their racist techniques.
I'm too colored for you. To go to Aquinas made me sick to my stomach. My skin wasn't light enough for the teacher to even help me learn something.
I'm too colored for you. To not being able to even enter an amusement park. For having skin and bumper stickers reflecting who we are.
I'm too colored for you. To walking through the store being followed and eyed made me realize that being black is a supposedly crime. Shall we go on? It's been 400 years too long. Why do we go through so much discrimination?
Why does black define the prison population?
And why does my blackness give me these lifelong limitations? No,
These experiences are just obstacles.
thinking they'll make our greatness impossible. Little did they know we unstoppable.
Period.
We have to surrender the narrative that we are made to fail
And end up in jail
while whites go to Yale and change. So that we are not just the employees, but the employers.
so that we are the leaders, elected officials, and lawyers.
So that killing my people isn't something they do for amusement. So that the next generation doesn't have to have a Black Lives Matter movement.
So that when they hear black, they see beauty, because that's what we are truly. With that being said, I'm going to take myself in this skin that's too colored for you and leave a mark on this world. You going to hear my name again in a few years, and I'm going to still be rocking my melanin and curls. I'm too colored for you. I'm too colored for you. We too colored for you.
Y'all give them another round of applause.
Yes.
Give them one more round of applause, y'all. I don't even know what to say. They so dope. So they went through this year in our Teen Activist Project as our Teen Activist students. And when I tell y'all, they were so on fire. The mayor came out with the State of the Union and it was like, we gonna come out with the State of the Students. And they killed it. And when they did that, Bernie Sanders, your whack ass president, like so many people, Elizabeth Warren just reached out to, these kids been killing it, period. Not just now when everybody comes to the protest and it's hype. They've been on fire. Let's just give them another round of applause. Now we're gonna have Chris Thomas come to the mic. He's been
Yes.
to the mic. He's been here every single week with us since the start of this movement. Give him a round of applause.
Yo, Chris.
Well, I was gonna do a bunch of Trump impressions, but Jamia killed that. I can't rhyme, so no poetry. But I'm gonna try to keep this quick. If it sounds stand-up-y, it's because I haven't done stand-up in like months because, you know, COVID. I'm just gonna talk about what I do and what brings me out here, and yeah, just like a little story. So last week I turned 43. I'm 43 now. Yes, black don't crack. We all know that. We don't need to go over that. I was really excited for my birthday. Like, it was on a Thursday. It's always Labor Day weekend. I had just come off like a serious like neurological injury. If you've seen me at some of the protests, I was walking around with a cane. That wasn't because I was cool. It was because I would have fallen over. So this is like the first like weekend that I was going to be able to walk around and like actually enjoy myself. And I got like some pizza, I got like some beer, my friend got me some South African wine, and then the RPD gave me a bunch of pepper and tear gas. So there was that. I was out on Thursday. I found out the day before my birthday about Daniel Prude, just like everybody else. The day of my birthday, I was out here marching. I was out in the front. I was one of the Umbrella Academy. I don't know what we call ourselves, but that's what we're calling ourselves now.
Not the Umbrella
And
Academy.
I watched my umbrella get obliterated by like bear mace and some pepper pellets and stuff. I couldn't breathe. Same thing happened the second night. The second night was hell, as we all know. If any of y'all were out there, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. The scars are still on the church that they shot up. So, and then I was like, I'm ready to do this again. And Monday I came out and I was out in the front. I was right in front of the barrier. We were chanting. We were waiting for them cops to do something to us. And then all of a sudden, I froze up. And I had a straight up panic attack. Because I realized I've been doing this for 28 years. I'm from Baltimore. We've been doing this shit in Baltimore since I was 14. Be more? I don't know who said that, but whatever. Morgan Pride. I've been doing this for 28 years, and it finally hit me that, yeah, I'm tired. I'm tired. Kids don't curse until you're 16. Yeah, it just hurt, and like everything just like fell on me. And I want to make sure that everybody here, no matter what you do, participate. You don't have to be in the front line all the time. You have to take care of your body. You got to take care of your mind, which is inside of your body. So please, please take care of yourself. You know, find some joy, do something. Everybody doesn't have to be on the front line. That's all I'm saying. And if you feel that panic, if you feel like you can't do it one day, it's okay to back up and let somebody take your place, because that's exactly what I did. And that line was held on Monday. Yeah. So thank you to everybody who did that. Now I want to talk about a lot of backlash I've been getting. I don't know who, but somebody sold my picture to MSNBC. So I wake up to see my black ass fist up in the air on some article, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. But of course, all the hate came, and people are asking like why I'm doing this, and you shouldn't be doing this. You should be spending your time doing something else. Why don't you vote? Why don't you do this? Why don't you that? Why don't you try to go into your community? Black on black crime, yada yada yada. We all heard it. We all heard it. Here's the thing. We spoke about it, and y'all got mad. When I say y'all, I'm talking about y'all's uncles and parents, because obviously you're here. So you can take this shit to them. We spoke about it, y'all got mad. We sang about it, y'all got mad. We sat down, y'all were mad. We took a knee, y'all were mad. We rallied, y'all got mad. We marched and we got tear gas. And then y'all got mad at the cops who got injured because, I don't know, they sprained their finger beating the shit out of us? I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we do, they're gonna get mad. Because they think we're attacking white people. We're attacking white supremacy. The fact that they see it as attacking white people is a problem. So, like I said, keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna also say, take care of yourself. Okay. Don't put yourself in a position where like I was on Monday. You know, take care of yourself. Keep doing what you're doing, and don't give a goddamn about what people say about it. Now, we've already spoken about that $16 million playset that the cops were going to get that they may not get, and it kind of relates to like my job. I'm an engineer. I make trains. Well, my company makes trains. I make the brakes and the controls for trains. So like if something happens, if I mess up my project, if my logic is wrong, people literally die. Like that's a possibility. And the policy at my job is that if that happens, is that they give me a little bit of counseling, and like I got to be suspended from my job for a little bit. Like it's like a little sabbatical, and I get a little bit of pay. No, I get fired. I fucking get fired. If I do something and it kills people, I get fired. Period. There's no investigation. There's no, well, maybe he's having a bad day. Oh, he feared for his life. Yeah, the people in the train did too. That was the only joke in here. I just had to get that out. One other thing, and like I'm just gonna preface this with like my views may not necessarily be the views of Free the People Rock or ABLM or anything, but I do need to say this. Like I read that Jesse Jackson was talking about coming here and mediating between Free the People.
All that shit.
Okay, so we're on the same page, so this ain't gonna be shit. So Jesse Jackson, as we all know, he's been around since Martin Luther King.
Wasting motherfucking time.
He may have done a lot of things in the past, and I'm going to respect what he's done in the past. But here's my problem with him coming here. This movement here, like since I've been here since 2008. In every single iteration of ABLM, of Free the People, I think it was Black before that, every iteration I've seen was Black and brown women and queer folks coming together and uniting everybody. Now, what you may not know, and what you need to know, is that every single movement for equality in this country has been on the backbones of Black and brown women and queer folks. Every single one. The Black Power movement came from like those maids like back in the 30s that like stood up for themselves, and then it evolved into the Black Power movement, but Stokely Carmichael got all the credit for it. Enough respect to Stokely Carmichael, but the fact is Black and brown women built that. Okay. Black and brown women and queer folks have been basically building the foundation, building the walls, building the house, and the last thing we need is some cishet man walking into that house and then getting all the credit for building it. So, all due respect to Jesse Jackson, but we don't need that. We need to lift up everybody here who has been organized, and we need to listen to them. They're the ones who've been building this, and they're the ones who need that attention. They're the ones who get the credit for building this house that we have right here. And my very, very last thing, November's coming up quick. November 3rd is coming up quick. I think Ashley talked about voting a couple of days ago. They talked about voting yesterday. I'm telling you right now, get your ass to the ballots, to the polls, and vote. If you don't feel safe, just absentee ballot. Do it as soon as possible because like the mail's being messed with. But by all means, vote. And learn who your candidates are. There was only one elected official that I saw this weekend that was out there holding a shield, making sure that I didn't get hit with a pepper pellet. I'll tell you who it is. Like, if you come to me, I don't want to blow up their spot, but like I know who I'm voting for when that person's up for election again. Look at their voting records. Look at who's getting money from the police. There's a drone up there now. It doesn't matter. They can smear my name. I got a drunk driving charge. Do it. Do it. I don't give a fuck. From Baltimore. Shit. But the fact is, you need to research who is running for office, or else we're gonna get another Sandra Dorley in office, and we don't need that. You need to make sure that the people that say that they're for equality are actually for equality, and not just giving out lip service and like paying somebody to write Black Lives Matter on the street, but then still keep upholding white supremacy. That's all I got to say. Vote. Take care of yourself.
Get in the front line if you can. If you can't, there's a million other things you can do to keep this going. All right, thank you. Also, listen.